This week I'm making a get well soon card, and it's using the Stolen Moments paper pack and die cuts, as well as a few other goodies which I'm about to show you. So there's the front, there's the inside. I'll show you some supplies and we'll get started. I'll be using the Stolen Moments double-sided paper pack, and these are all the fronts of the papers, just to show you a quick preview. And I gotta show you this little border on that one, it's really pretty. And there's another border. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, it must be on the other side. So let me flip all 6 of these sheets over, and you'll see the back side. Oh, there's a pretty border I was looking for. So lots of kind of a sage, softer green with cream brown, and lots of aged, more distressed looks to it. So it's got a kind of vintage postcard letter feel to it, which I love. So we've got those, and then we also have the matching Stolen Moments die cuts. Now in this package you're getting 2 of this exact sheet, so there are 64 total die cuts. And really pretty shapes and images here. You're also getting 2 sheets of Jewel Dazzles. This is the brass and the brown. Now the brass is the same as a smooth gold, but if we called it the gold Jewel Dazzles, it might get confused with the glitter gold, so that's why we call it brass. And then and then we have the bronze, and then we have the mocha holographic specialty paper, so that's going to add a pop of sparkle to our project. So let's get started. So I popped out this die cut from the Stolen Moments die cuts, and I have this sheet of paper from the paper pack, and I'm going to just trace this onto the sheet and cut it out, kind of using this as a template for a shape that I'm going to use on the inside of the card. Now the shape has a little bit of a bump from this flower on it, so I'm simply going to round that out to a straight line. So now I've cut out that shape and it's got the rounded edge there, and I'm going to set this aside for now, and I'm going to go to the card base. I've got my 6.5 by 5 inch card base, just a blank white cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and cover the front of my card with the bottom right corner of this sheet of paper. So simply place the glue stick on, glue it down, trim off the excess. Now I've got the card covered with my paper. I'm going to set that aside. And I have a 2-inch square of the mocha holographic paper. So I'm going to turn it on point, and I'm simply going to cut from corner to corner this way and horizontally this way, just matching up the points, and that'll give me 4 perfect triangles. Okay, so now when I go back to the card, I can put these in the corners. So that was from a 2-inch square. Now I want to kind of have a little bit of a layered look to this. So I'm going to go back to this sheet of paper that I cut that shape out of, and I'm going to cut a little bit larger square. So this one came from a 2-inch square, so I'm going to go for a, let's say, 2 3/4 inch square for this one. So here are the 4 triangles I got from the 2 3/4 inch square. So I'm going to glue those onto the corners of my card first, just like that, and then I'm going to go with the mocha holographic paper on top and glue them over, just like that, on all 4 corners. Okay, so I've got all my corners done, and now I'm going to do something with the Jewel Dazzles that I haven't done before. I'm just taking my ruler. I'm going to go to the medium Jewel Dazzles. So I'm lining up the ruler with the middles right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just make a cut right down the center. So now I have half circles, which I'm going to place along these corners. So I'm going to make it sort of look like a scallop border, just like this. So if you keep on going like this, you'll have a little bit of a scallop border, which is what I'm going for. So I've done all of the brass jewel dazzles, and now I'm going in with the larger brown jewel dazzles and doing the inner corner. So I'm just finishing up my last one here. There we go. And I didn't use very many of my dazzles. It looks like I still have a ton left. So that's kind of what the corners look like now. Now for my greeting, I'm going to use the Just a Little greeting stamps. And I'm going to make this card a Get Well Soon card. So I've already placed it on my stamping block. And I'm using my Timber Brown StazOn. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp here and stamp onto the middle of this label, and this is part of the die cuts. There we go. And I'm going to add a couple little hearts on the side. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for now, and I'm taking back this piece and I'm going to mat it on this it's kind of a distressed pattern it looks like a sage green and cream, and there's a little bit of tan in there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down and just going to cut around the edge of it, leaving about an 1/8 inch of a border. Okay, now that that's done, we can go back to the card and see where we're going to place it, probably around there. Alright, so I rotated the shape on point and I've glued it to the card, and I have also punched out some die cuts. So the die cuts are here just to show you which ones I'm using. Now I'm going to glue these on here in a layered arrangement. Alright, so this is the finished front of my card. And as you can see, all the pieces are there and they're all glued down and layered. And I've got the timepiece here, so it's Get Well Soon, hopefully, within a short period of time. So that's why I put the clock on the front. And one thing I forgot to do is to put a jewel dazzle here. So I'm going to use a brown jewel dazzle to cover that little hole. There we go. And you can even stack the dazzles if you want. So if you put a tiny one in the center here, then you've got a little more dimension. Alright, so on the inside, what I've done is I've covered the whole inside with this herringbone pattern, and I've got this lace border along the right side. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that shape that I cut from the very first step, and I'm going to mat it on the holographic firework paper. And that'll be my writing space on the inside of the card. Okay, so I went ahead and finished this inside, but basically you'll see that this outer border is that mocha holographic firework paper, so that's really nice and shiny. And then in the corners I've stacked a large gold and a medium brown, or a large brass, and a medium brown jewel dazzle, and then just small brown ones flanking them on either side. And then the Take Care and the heart are from the Just a Little greeting stamp set, the same stamp set I used, the Get Well Soon. And the arrow and the clock are both die cuts. The clock I just tucked underneath this main piece, so this is the first thing you'll want to glue down. And on the center of the clock I added a couple jewel dazzles stacked on top of each other. And this area is meant to write your own personal greeting. So that is the inside of the card. Just a little review. Here is the front and opening up on the inside, and that is our card for the week. Stay tuned for the bundle, and thanks for watching. I'll see you again next week. First in this week's bundle we have the Stolen Moments double-sided paper pack, and it's got 12 sheets. There are 6 of each design. So there is this beautiful border design, and there's tons of layering and texturing. Got some aged look to it, and I love the postal stripe on the top and the bottom here. There's sort of a matching stripe on this sheet, and then we have a very light all over pattern. It's kind of a floral, almost looks like a tapestry. This is sort of a muted greenish gray. And then we also have the brown and teal sort of tapestry pattern. And another one in beige. And then I'm just going to flip over all 6 sheets so you can see the backs. We've got brown and white dot, a light sage, and brown cream and sage. This is another tiny all over pattern with a pretty lace border, textured brown, and stripes on brown. So those are all 6 of the sheets, and again you're getting 2 of each sheet in the paper pack. Next in the bundle we have the Stolen Moments die cuts, and this contains 64 die cuts on 2 sheets which are identical, so I'm showing you one so you don't have to see the same thing twice. But each of these pops out on its own, and they are a heavy cardstock weight. This Moments has each letter pop out, so lots of fun different shapes to work with. And we also have a holographic paper, and this is called Mocha Fireworks. So you can see it's kind of a brown color, but it's got some variation in the actual holographic pattern. And then we also have the 2 sheets of dazzles. These are the jewel dazzles, and you're getting the brown and the brass. Now the reason we don't call this gold is because the gold ones are the glitter jewel dazzles, so I just don't want to confuse you. This is the same smooth gold as you've seen on other dazzles, but we call it brass just so to differentiate from the glitter. And there's the brown. So those are the 5 items in this week's bundle. Thanks again for watching this week's episode, and I'll see you again next week.